A very warm welcome to all the viewers of BW Business World. Today we have with us Mr. Nilesh Patel, co-founder and CEO of LeadSquared. Welcome, sir.
Great. I'm happy to be here.
It's not a secret that SaaS has emerged to be one of the biggest disruptors in the global technology industry, especially in the post-COVID world. More and more companies have realized the need for a robust cloud-based environment. Software as a solution continues to grow across the globe as businesses shift to cloud-based and digital intensive environment. From early 2000s to 2015, this service sector has had a massive growth. Similarly, the removal of complexities by giving disruptive and innovative solutions in SaaS has now given many technological advancements in the business segment as well. Last 2 years have been revolutionary and transformative. We would want to know what are some of the major transformations and irreversible changes you have seen and witnessed.
Yeah, I can share more from software as a service standpoint, predominantly because that's the space we operate in. I think SaaS has been growing globally in last 5 to 10 years, and it's become increasingly an industry where people are coming in for value creation. Opportunities are also massive there. From an India standpoint, if you see, there's a lot of focus on B2C businesses, which is still there and continues to be interesting for many, in many areas. But I believe the investment thesis has changed a little bit, and it basically points to some of the, maybe unit economics of SaaS, and there have been some good proof point done by some of the early SaaS companies who have crossed, several $100 million revenue mark and gone public as well. So I think there's a lot of, lot of value creation which is there, which is what is attracting people increasingly to SaaS world. And there are many companies who have done that successfully. Also, the whole economic model from building in India and serving the world, has a similar value creation for the companies and for the customers as, and it's not one-to-one comparison, but as what IT services did for last 25, 30 years. And so this is a long-term opportunity and a large opportunity. And I think people, there's more realization of that now. That's why you'll see all this interest.
Absolutely. I can confidently agree with you that this is a space which is booming right now, and there is no one-to-one comparison, as you said rightly. Just because every company or startup or entrepreneur is trying to figure out a niche in terms of giving innovative solutions, I understand that market remains the same and the consumers, or let's say your customer base, remains the same. Moreover, the point of introducing solutions is when you try to spot a challenge and a problem in a right manner. Let us know about the inception and genesis of LeadSquared, and what was the story behind this, how it has all started, and why is it called LeadSquared?
Yeah.
Is there any interesting story behind it?
Yeah, great question. I think let me on how we started and what we started, and I think I'll come to the name question. So when we started, the idea was, me and my co-founder colleagues, the idea was to build a software first business. I mean, that was the core idea, and I would candidly admit we did not know exactly which idea we will work on. We had some few ideas on the list. We started looking and digging down into the problem of marketing and sales, because we all three of us liked that space. And then we built some hypotheses. Market was also showing a lot of interest. There was a lot of global capital going into marketing and sales tech in 11, 12, 13, 14 time frame. And so that gave us some, confidence to solve a problem which we discovered during our, some of the early consulting work we did. As we did that, what we found is the problem was around, how we can close leads faster, how we can improve the conversion, how we can improve the efficiency in sales, etc. was the was the theme. And my co-founder colleague, was very clear that whatever name we have, we need to have that name as website. And of all the names he searched, he found LeadSquared as one of them. And when he was able to purchase it, is when we decided that we'll and we all liked the name. It was it was simple to. I mean, it is a little bit difficult to write for people, but it's easy to the recall is not that poor, and so that's why we decided on the name, because we could get the website available, purchased. So that's the story.
Good to know. Good to know. You becoming a unicorn. What was the feeling like, and uh, what was the journey like? Also, what were the major, what should I say, the milestones were? What it really took to be a big unicorn. You entered the unicorn club in June. Tell us about the experience behind it.
Yeah, I mean, our story is a very long journey, unlike many other very successful companies. I mean, I think we took much longer than others to arrive at this point. And a lot has to do with what we were trying to achieve, which is basically, one of the things which so whatever we were doing did not fit into the classic, thesis and hypotheses the investment firms have, in which case we couldn't attract a lot of capital early on. So what we could attract is what we, from friends and family, which is what we used to build, the business. So the good news and bad news is, the good news was that we had to survive and grow in the limited capital environment for ourselves. And the bad is that if you can invest less, then you can't build all the tech you need upfront to serve the customer. So I think that was the case. The good, but we chugged along, from 13, 14 till 17, 18, 19. Is when we attracted, Jyoti Bansal, who is one of our earlier, angel investors. We had other friends and family invested in us, but him coming on board was an important moment for us in 17. And Pradeep Singh, before that, he is founder of Talisma. He invested in 15. So that was an interesting moment for us. And then in 19, we got the Series A, again, a small check from Stake Board. That validated what we were trying to do. There was just with the first institutional capital, but we kept on doing what we were doing, which was not till then also not fitting the thesis of what most of the investment firms have. And then pandemic came in. What we were trying to do, there were a lot of customers who were growing rapidly in the categories we were serving. And our business grew really, really fast in last 2-3 years. It was growing rapid before that also, but at a higher base, it became much larger and got interesting for other groups. Is when Gaja came in, and we continued to grow after taking that capital. And what we were able to achieve is that some of the things people believe are not likely to happen in India is people buying software and scaling the business. I think we found that opportunity, and the second opportunity which extends from that is if we can do what we could do in India in terms of selling a high quality product, and if we can present the same product to the world, to the larger, bigger markets, which are much larger in size, then the opportunity to build a substantial business is there, and that's why we could attract a larger capital, and WestBridge was interested, and that's the story, right? I mean, I think if you really ask me, these are the steps which happened, and of course, while we were doing all of this, we were acquiring customers and earning mind share, winning, solving all these problems we're seeing in the market.
It was a very gradual journey you took, and yes. It took a time, and this was not really your major goal to achieve. You were working strongly on building the business.
Yes. Right? Yes. Yeah. I mean, that is right. Getting to a valuation milestone helps you in many ways. It helps you get attention in the media, which basically translates into attention with
Hmm.
potential buyers,
Customers.
potential customers, potential people who could like to join the company and things like that. So it has its other merits, but that in news in itself has no meaning because ultimately with that news you will not certainly add more value to your customers, right? I mean, that doesn't happen. That's a process which the company has to build and follow internally. So that's a that
Along
you
with
know
all these merits, currently we are witnessing what should I say, the shift or a very high focus in terms of becoming a unicorn. There is a race going on. Investors are also betting high on Indian startups, given the nature of Indian startups. When leading investors are saying so that Indian startups have their fundamentals right in place. Uh, it turns out to be your point. Genesis in right place, and that fundamentals and values in the right place. What is your view about this whole race of becoming a unicorn and try to tap the valuations first? And how important is it to you? Also, what it takes to be profitable first, and if we keep valuation secondary, how all these metrics work? What are your views on this?
I think value comes after first. Value comes first, and the valuation and everything else comes later, right? So I think if you're focused on creating value and you're creating value in a market and an opportunity which is going to be large, so that's fundamental. I would think for the for the business. And while you do so, if you are likely to be unprofitable in the beginning and continue to be unprofitable for some time, as you scale the business, I believe still not a bad idea. I mean, I'm not siding that you should be unprofitable. I'm saying that if there is a long-term value creation happening and there is an opportunity is large, you have to sometimes over-invest in fueling the growth and capturing the opportunity. At the same time, there are unit economic ideas which are straightforward and simple. Is that if you're earning $1 of revenue and you're spending $10 and the lifetime value of the customer is $3, then that's not a bad idea. That's not a good idea, right? You shouldn't be doing that. So I think those ideas are important and critical. So as long as the unit economics make sense, one can continue to grow and be unprofitable, to a point where you become a large business. So that's important. However, so unit economics is more important than just hitting the profitability. I would say the way it affects you is if you are in bad environment, which is bad funding environment, then and you're unprofitable, then your ability to raise capital at a good price comes down. And that basically means that you will have to dilute as a founder, at a lower price point, and it's not fun if you do that. So I think running a good business, which is high, the cash flows are under control, is always a good idea. Like that's always going to be more valuable than anything.
Very well stated and very well put. A recent report by CII and EY just like created a buzz in the SaaS industry as well. It says India is the next global SaaS capital. According to this study, over 80% of the SaaS promoters feel there is a need to build a robust talent pool. This is one aspect I would want to know your view. Also, 50% of the SaaS providers feel driving greater awareness for SaaS products continues to be a prerequisite for customer acquisition. Uh, we are still in that space where we are expecting people to be more aware, and this is more relevant in terms of where businesses and people are more tech oriented and tech savvy. This is not India is not yet ready for SaaS penetration into the deeper parts. This is still for Indian SaaS product for global markets. How are you witnessing the market opportunity and potential right now?
The two questions you asked, I think I'll respond to the second first, which is the SaaS for India, selling in India. I think there is an opportunity, and people are, companies like LeadSquared are doing for the Indian market. Is the opportunity available in all parts of the market segment? The answer is no. Is the opportunity available? Answer is yes. There are large global software companies having sizable businesses in India, and some of those businesses can be, one can compete with in India. And I think so that's the opportunity. And also, all the software which has to be created and has to be relevant for the Indian market as well, to be able to have a sizable business. So there is an opportunity, but it needs to be, you have to look at different parts of the market and see where it is large enough. At the same time, create the right distribution services and the technology to be able to serve the customer. And increasingly, people will adopt it. I mean, there's already a lot of success, and I don't see any reason why people would totally say no to something like that if it adds value. So that's part A. So there is an opportunity, but not in every area, but there certainly is an opportunity. It's an increasing opportunity. There are several factors which are helping drive that as well, right? The cost of labor, human resources have gone up, right? The cost of software has not gone up to the same degree, right? Companies have become more, all the companies have become bigger in nature, and which basically means that there'll be more wastage and loss of lack of efficiency, which means the software will prove its value very, very quickly. And that will lead into businesses making a decision to buy, the certain category of software. Right? So that is increasingly becoming obvious. Now, to the question on talent pool, I think all like how IT services companies have done massive investment in building talent pool over the last 25, 30 years. I think that same has to continue. The variety of talent will slightly differ, while we continue to, as an industry, invest and build talent on the technology side. I think talent on the product creation, talent on the marketing side, talent on the sales side, and other variety of roles will also be important to be created to make India SaaS capital the way you described. And I think those investments will be needed, and collectively, I'm sure all the bigger bodies which are neutral, already making efforts, and at the company level, people are, and every company is also making an attempt to build the talent pool in their own ways and means.
Now that we know that this is the space which have increasing opportunity and potential to tap and go further, your observations on how what is the core mantra to work on to be able to build for this potential? It can be like research and development, but what, in your opinion, is the main aspect to focus on in terms of be sustainable in the longer run?
I think good product which applies to a market is always a key to be successful. And if that good market is large, then it is widely successful. So fundamentally, I think there are two approaches entrepreneurs have taken. One is you create a tech or a product and then find an opportunity to sell or present that product to a market. Like the tech is created first and then you find the market. And then sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not. And that happens to most companies when they start their business. Most founders do that. And then sometimes you start with the market saying, this is the market, this is the size of the market, this is the problem I'm going to solve. And then you create technology to solve that problem. And so if that is done well, then the chances of succeeding are much higher because you're more focused on solving a problem or identifying an opportunity which is very targeted in an area. And so both methods have been successful, but I think once you go the first route, which is creating a product and then finding a market, the opposite happens, and in that case, you'll be more successful. Now, the size of companies may differ, like in US and all developed markets. I mean, there are lots of companies which are small companies and profitable and doing good business. Not every SaaS business will become very large. Just like how there's tens of thousands of IT services companies doing good business, but not all of them are listed, not all of them are large, right? So SaaS will go the same route. There'll be many companies, some will become very large, and others would not, right? And so that's how it will be.
I
But there'll
agree.
still be good companies and profitable companies if done
Yeah,
well.
I agree. Uh, I mean, given the nature of collaboration where in our disruptive nature of startups and entrepreneurs, we have a relationship between founders and funders. Uh, I was talking to a couple of investors in a similar set of interviews, and we discussed like this relationship works like a marriage. What are your views in this, and how do you see this relationship to work in favor of the businesses?
No, I think this is a good point. Look, we've been lucky to have all good investors, very friendly people, good intended people join us, and I'm happy to share and say that I've had great relationship with everyone who is invested in the business, especially the institutional investors who came in. I think we should just understand what they want, right, and look at their advice from that angle. And some of them are very helpful as well in helping us think through, certain things. And they bring a very different perspective. We see the world from our side, right? They have seen the world from a very different angle. So a lot of value is there, and and if there is a mutual respect, it's always a good relationship. So I'm happy to share that. I mean, I've benefited from all the relationships with our investors, and it has helped the company as well.
So it's absolutely much more than money, and good intent always.
Yes.
We must respect their expertise, or let's say their opinion from a different perspective.
Yeah.
That can work in a good manner for both the parties.
Yeah, you don't have to execute all of what they say. I mean, of course, there are certain
Absolutely.
things which you think,
Yeah.
because you have to listen to them and apply what you think is relevant, and they're
Hmm.
mindful of that. They also not saying just do, like, nobody says that. It's always, they always come from an advisory standpoint, and bring valuable insight. It actually helps you think better when that happens. So you learn a lot in that process.
In the growing SaaS market, there are many young SaaS companies are coming up as well. How do you maintain your unique points and unique standpoint, and what are some of the trends, if I can ask, you are witnessing right now that will stay here for longer?
Yeah, I mean, I think new companies will come in, and I think it's a good thing. New companies. We were also a new company many years ago, so I think, and still believe we are still young. Um, and so yeah, I mean, competition is welcome, and it helps everyone do a better job. Um, yeah, so that's a positive thing, right? You may be afraid of it, and all of that is fine, but overall it is valuable to the end customer and the market, so it's always going to be a good thing. um, yeah, I mean, I think on the other question, the trends, as you said, I mean, when SaaS becomes hot, like, more and more people will jump in, and so you will get good companies coming out of this, and then there'll be a lot of there'll be, I won't say a lot, there'll be some amount of, you know um, you know poor ideas also which will come in, and the ideas may not be poor. It's just that sometimes the whole thing doesn't add up to build, and that will also happen. So it's just like it for with anything, it'll be a lot of people will jump in, some good stuff will happen, and some not so good. So but the good thing is, let's focus on the good stuff, right? Then because trying is not a bad thing; it's a very good thing, right? I mean, but what you lead, whether it is successful or not, I mean, there are a lot of things which are there before one can predict what will work. So
That's right. There are multiple factors that affect your like map of your growth. which are not under your control sometimes.
Yeah.
You as an entrepreneur and founder, what is that one thing of your job you love the most? And if I can say so, what is your leadership approach in terms of leading a company?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think working with colleagues I've had, build good relationship with, and continue to do so, is the most exciting part of my work. And working with them every day, trying to solve, discuss problems, trying to so that's the most interesting and enjoyable part for me.
So Nilesh, this is the most common thing between us. You also a people person, I also a people person. Always love to meet people and listen to their stories and ideas, what they have. Uh, I mean, towards my final question, with the latest set of funding and your ideas in place, your moving high trajectory of the business, what are your next big plans? Uh, what are three major plans in next 3 years for LeadSquared?
Yeah, I think the fundamental is to is scale the business, and to scale we continue to expand in the geographies where we are strong, which is India, and we're building actively our presence in US and other geographies outside of India. So we expect the dollar business to be a large part of our revenue moving forward in few years, and that's where we are investing in. And to be able to do all of this, our focus is to continue to build and attract talent who, which basically build good teams, both on the product side and the, when I say product, meaning engineering and product, and the go-to-market function, and overall, build the talent pool to build, to support the growth which we are, looking forward to. And so I think that would be those are the basic things we're trying to achieve as we expand. So
We wish you all the very best, and I'm so grateful to you for taking your time out and talking to us. Thank you so much for joining.
thank you, Resham and the team. Thank you so much.